Hello and welcome back. My name is Zoe Lewis. I'm the Director of Coaching here at the Leadership Coaches, and today I would like to take you through how our brains start to formulate new patterns of behaviour. So we're starting here to think about when we want to change a behaviour that's not serving us particularly well and that we want to change it to something that feels more empowering. Now if we start to think about some of these examples, we might say, for imposter syndrome, for example, I don't feel like I belong here, I shouldn't even have a seat at the table, those sort of thoughts, and we want to change those. Or we might say, I'm presenting and I don't feel particularly good about presenting, I don't think I'm very good at it, and then we want to change those into more empowering thoughts. Now, I've got another video that I've recorded for you, which is the ABCDE model on how we change those thoughts. That's not what this video is about. This video is about understanding about how does the brain go through that transition, because I think that's really important for people to understand about how your brain's making those connections, which helps us deal with the understanding of how it makes the connections, but also when we have setbacks along the way. So if we start to think about the brain, in our brain, we've got lots of different neural connections happening all the time. Let's take an example. So I said about a presentation. So I'm presenting, and my brain has a default path that it goes down depending on its previous experience. So let's, for argument's sake, say it's going down the previous path of this won't be good, doesn't ever go well when you present. You start to panic, you lose your breath, and then it all goes wrong. So this neural pathway is actually strongly developed. And I'm just going to draw up there a motorway for us. And the reason I've chosen a motorway is because it's like the fast track, it's the default route. So when that information comes in, you're going to do the presentation to the CEO, vroom, off goes your brain on its pre-programmed path. Now what we want to do here is we want to say, okay, let's change that thinking. And as I say, there's another model that shows you how to do that. So starting to change that thinking means starting to pause and reflect and think about how do I do this differently? What different thoughts might empower me? Now when we start to do that, we start to create a new neural pathway. So this new neural pathway takes a while to develop because the first time that you tread that route, it's really difficult. It's a bit like wading through treacle. So it might be really slow and very, very light pattern that's created. And the next time that you face a similar situation, you think, okay, presentation coming up, the chances are it's still going to go down the motorway because that's the fastest route. So you do have to keep consciously saying, no, I don't want to go down the motorway, I want to take the new route. So this new route, ever so slowly, starts to get stronger. And something very fascinating happens here, and these neural connections start to wire together. And there's a lovely phrase that we use here, which is neurons that fire together, wire together. So when those start to connect in your brain, they start to work together and they go, I can do this, I'm starting to get the hang of this. And it becomes a new pattern of behaviour. Imagine a toddler learning to walk, you know, actually I've always sat down and then all of a sudden I'm starting to stand up and I can do this, I'm getting more confident, I repeat it and my brain starts to learn that pattern of behaviour. It's exactly the same for us as adults. Now what happens, and this is brilliant, the more that we take control and we say, no, I don't want to take the motorway, I want to take the new route, the stronger the new route becomes. So it then maybe becomes a bit of a dual carriageway. And what happens with our old neural pathway? It starts to die down. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Neurons that don't fire together, don't wire together. So that means that that one gets weaker and this one gets stronger. So what we do is we keep repeating the behaviour until it becomes a pattern and a habit, and our brain then starts to go, that's really good, I'm getting the idea of this. And the more that we repeat that behaviour, it then gets, in the brain it gets covered with a myelin sheath, which starts to then protect and almost like an insulator in the brain that says, right, that's your new neural pathway, and it gets so strong that that's the default. So I hope that this has helped you understand a bit more about how our brains work. Because for me, I found it very reassuring as I've been on many journeys, as many of us have through our lives, and understanding that actually, you know, when I have a setback or it doesn't work particularly as I'd hoped it would, I understand a bit more about what's driving that. And I also know that in order to get better, I need to keep repeating that behaviour. And whatever it's going to be, whether it's for me learning a new keyboard skill, I've not done that before, my brain's going, I don't get it, I want to stop. Or it might be something more challenging, like stopping yourself speaking up in a meeting that's where it might be aggressive and you don't want to come across in that way. So you might turn that behaviour around and start thinking about, actually, I want to stop that. I want to address this in a more calm and focused fashion. So any sort of behaviour change can happen in here. It's fascinating what our brains are capable of. And you may have heard of the term neural plasticity. That's what this is all about. The brain can unlearn and relearn new things. I hope this has been helpful to you. Do also remember as well, we've got our website for you with some free resources, lots of information on there for you to have a look at. We've also got our whole suite of coaches on there, so do feel free to have a look. If you're starting to look at whether the coach is right for you, remember that we offer half-an-hour chemistry sessions with a couple of our coaches so that you can make sure that they're the right coach for you. Also, please subscribe to our newsletter and also our YouTube channel. And if you've got any questions, let us know. We're always more than happy to help. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.